All right, happy Saturday. Hope you guys are enjoying your weekend so far. Just started, of course. In today's video or today's training, what we're going to do is jump on and share with you guys some home buying tips. And I am going to go ahead, pause for a second, and invite in Isabel. Give me 1 second. All right, so Isabel should be on shortly. I am going to invite her in and then we'll get started. 1 second. All right, thank you for joining. We are getting started in like 2 minutes. Let's see who's here. All right, as you come in, go ahead and drop your name and where you're tuning in from in the comments so that I can see who's here. I'm also going to pull it up on another screen just so I don't miss any of you guys' comments. And just know that there's a huge delay. There is a huge delay. So let's see. All right, waiting on Isabel. Let's see. All right, thank you guys for joining. Give me 1 second. Just waiting on Isabel to pop in, and then we're going to get started with our Home Buying Made Easy class. We're going to walk you guys through the entire process of getting started, of getting that loan, even if you're an entrepreneur or if you have less than perfect credit. We have some tips for you today to walk you through. Then I'm going to share, as a realtor, I'm going to share my story of actually going through the process of buying a home. I bought 2 homes so far. So I wanted to make sure you guys know the things behind buying a home. I want to make sure you guys know the process and things that you should not do when buying a home. One thing is going out and buying a car, which one of my clients did. So we're going to share that with you in 1 sec. I'm just waiting on Isabel to join in. Hey, Miss Cahill, now Christy is the expert on buying a home. She's bought like 30 homes before, so she is the expert. Okay, we're going to get started in 1 second. I'm not sure what's going on with Isabel. So if you have any questions as you join in, go ahead and drop your questions. Even if you're watching the replay, go ahead and drop those questions in, and I'm going to jump back in and answer them, me and Isabel, so that you can get on to buying your home, whether it's your first home, your second home, upgrade or downgrade, whatever you're trying to buy. We want to make sure you're getting to that next level of where you want to go as far as home ownership. So give me 1 second. Not sure. All right. Isabel says she is here and I don't see you. So give me 1 second. Isabel, drop a 1 in the comments or something so I can see you. I don't see you popping up when I'm trying to bring you in. All right, I see you.
I see you now. All right, hold on 1 second.
Okay. All right. All right, almost there. We are getting started right now. Give us a second. So for those of you, while we wait on Isabel, for those of you that don't know me, I am a Tampa Bay area realtor. I am Knifey Burke, Tampa Bay area realtor. I've been licensed for about 19 and a half years now. Licensed in Chicago originally, licensed here in Florida for about a year. So today we're gonna walk you through the actual process of homeownership, based on everything that I've learned and everything that Isabel has learned over the years. And Isabel is like one of the top lenders here in Florida. And even if you're outside of Florida, go ahead, ask your questions, whatever questions you have, because I'm sure that she'll be able to answer your questions. And if you want to buy in another state that we're not licensed in, of course, we can refer you out. Hey, Sharon, how are you today?
I'm doing my live. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome, Isabel. How are you?
Okay, there we go. I had to go make sure I set this thing up right.
Oh, okay. Okay. You're all good. You're all
I
good.
will follow your lead.
Yeah, I just want so let everyone know a little bit about Miss Isabel. What you're doing in the you're in Port St. Lucie, right?
I am.
Yeah.
So you're on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast.
Right. As long as it's warm where we are, we're still here. It doesn't.
I was actually just in Cali. I think Monday.
Uh-huh.
Early. I can't do the cold weather. It's just not for me.
Oh yeah.
And
That's
it's too expensive out there for all the
I
people that live
know.
in California that might be watching this.
Right. Prices are like 10 times higher than Florida.
Yes, I actually was talking to our Uber driver, and I was just asking out of curiosity, what does it cost to live there? And he said a 2-bedroom in San Francisco, because that's where I was at, was $4,000 a month. Okay, and that's not even a house. He said that's just renting.
A rental?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he said most people have to commute out to Oakland or like the surrounding areas, and even that's super expensive. He said the 2 bedroom in Oakland's like 2 grand.
Wow. Now I love California. I love Laguna Beach and Newport Beach. I love those areas.
Mm,
I would love to buy an investment property there because I need to be
really?
bringing in money to make it work. I definitely wouldn't buy an actual property to
Nah,
live
I'm
in.
like, oh my God. I see, I got to be selling drugs or something. I don't know how you guys make that happen. That's too
Right.
expensive. So
Yeah,
yeah,
a lot of money.
yes, it is. So what can I tell you guys about me? I am a mortgage broker. I've been in the real estate business since 2002. So we're going on what? Can't do math. What's that? 18 years? 18
18
years?
years. Wow.
Yeah. I'm just passionate about, I think, ownership, period, especially in our community as far as like, people of color.
Mm-hmm.
It is the one wealth builder that most of the times we're uneducated about and afraid of too. Like we don't understand how it actually works. And I was talking to a group of friends last night while we were having dinner, and we were just conversating about, like when you're so used to renting, you just, it gives you a little bit of relief in the sense that, okay, a broke, call the landlord, have him come fix it.
Mm-hmm.
But, with that convenience comes a huge cost. You lose all that potential equity.
Right.
And we were kind of giving an example. I have a friend of mine, she's in the process of selling her house right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they've been in the home 2 years, maybe 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But it hasn't been that long. And I think in that short period of time, that maybe 2 year period, she's made an equity like $40,000.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas had she been renting, she would have never got any of her rental income back. Like it would have just been going out the door. Nobody would have been like,
Right.
hey, you've been here this long, I'm going to give you half of the equity. Now
Mm-hmm.
they just like, I appreciate it. Make sure you don't break anything, because if you do, I'm going to keep
Bye.
your deposit. Right.
Until you buy.
And
and,
bye,
bring, and bring that next tenant right back up, right on in. Isabel, are you still there? It looks like you fell off.
happened. Can you see me?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it cut out. That was weird. Yes. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we were kind of
Yeah.
just talking about having that general conversation. Like I said, she's in the process of actually selling her house, and man, it's crazy. Like if you look at how much you pay in rent, it is equivalent to a mortgage payment.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest difference being when you move out of your rental, you move out of the rental, and hopefully they give you back the deposit that you made
Hopefully.
when you actually moved in. But most of the
Mm-hmm.
time, you ain't getting all of it back. They're gonna
Right.
tax some of that too. So.
Right, right. Yeah, I always love to tell people about when I bought my second home in Illinois. That's how I funded my actual vision of getting here to Florida. I wanted to relocate to Florida for about 10 years.
Oh
And the
wow.
equity in my home has paid for my entire past year of living here in Florida because I was able to buy a home instead of renting. If I would have rented, like you said, I wouldn't have got anything back. When I
Mm-hmm.
had rentals, I left and they charged cleaning fees, even though I would clean the place as much as possible. I would clean it as much as possible. You would get a 25 fee for cleaning the stove, even though you cleaned it. And it's just
Yeah.
so many fees that they take out. And instead of doing that, go ahead, buy a home, live in it 2 or 3 years. I lived in my home for about 4.5 years and doubled what I purchased the house for. So I love being able to build equity. So
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
And I think we don't really comprehend what that is, because it's like this, this imaginary number until you sell your house, refinance
Mhm.
your home, or whatever. So I think it's really hard to grasp what
Mhm.
equity it really is, how it
Yeah.
works, because it seems crazy. Like I
Mhm.
bought this house for 200, now I'm selling it for 250.
Mhm.
And so I think that just understanding that there is a growth in value on the
Mhm.
actual asset itself.
Right.
The home increases in value, even if you don't pay it off. Like it just goes up because the market demands it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so like I said, my friend is actually in the process of starting a business. So that was the reason why they decided to sell their home,
Yeah.
was to take the equity out of the house to fund
Mhm.
their business,
Right.
and I think it's fantastic.
It is.
She's going to build her dream, out of this money that was just sitting in the savings account technically.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't even know it was there until we had a conversation about it. She's like, you know what? I'm gonna sell my house.
Right.
And I was like, good for you. That's
And
awesome.
I love that. I like that. Well, a lot of people are afraid to have conversations with lenders and with realtors because they feel like they're going to be sold to. But in cases like for you and for me, we're just here to have a conversation
Mm-hmm.
and to help you get those questions answered, because a lot of times people are going to their coworkers to get questions asked. They're going to their family and friends, and their situation is not your situation.
Right.
So I love that you are able to have those consultations with people and have those light bulbs go off. Same as I do consultations over the phone as well and in person, but those those steps are key to getting those questions answered instead of going to your coworkers and your friends and getting their point of view on everything. So that's
Yeah.
awesome that your client is able to do that, because she's probably going to be able to leave an amazing legacy because she was able to actually sell her home, get that equity, and start her business. So I love that.
Yeah. So I think that we don't talking about because I always say, the how I do
Mhm.
something, it's pretty accessible. Like I can go on YouTube right now and figure out how to change the oil in my car. Like the information on the how is, I think, there. I think
Right.
what we don't talk about enough is the why. Like, why is it so very important for us? Like, why should I buy a house? Like,
Hmm.
it's just easier for me to rent,
Hmm.
and I kind of feel like that topic actually isn't spoken about enough. The actual reason
Hmm.
behind home ownership
Hmm.
and ownership period. Like, why should we own our own?
Hmm. Hmm.
Like, I don't think
Yeah.
we talk about that enough.
And of course, one of the top reasons is equity. What are some of the other reasons you think that home buyers should think of, the reasons that they should buy homes besides building equity?
Now if I really think, like, for just community wise, like if you look at the wealth gap between whites and people of color,
Hmm.
I mean, it's 100-fold. Like it's not even funny. Like they're at 170,000. I think on average, people of
Hmm.
color only have 17,000 of viable liquid assets, meaning like money
Right.
in the bank account or real
Hmm.
estate or whatever it is. So
Hmm.
you're talking about 170,000 versus 17.
Hmm.
Like that gap in itself, like I said, is 100-fold. It's huge.
Hmm.
And how can we close in or make that number smaller?
Hmm.
And I think that a lot of that comes through the easiest route, which is buying a house, because you got to pay
Hmm.
rent anyways. That's kind of how I
Yeah.
see it. You're gonna pay somebody's rent. Why not? Or somebody's
Mhm.
mortgage? Why not pay your own?
Right.
Why not put that rent money into your own pocket instead of giving it to your landlord? Why not
Hmm.
build your family's wealth by at least buying your house at the bare
Right.
minimum? I think that a lot of times once we do it one time, it becomes easier to do it repetitively,
Hmm.
but you don't got to jump into the deep end. Like, start with a little spot, get you a little place. And then once you feel confident and comfortable and you kind of know how this thing works, do it again. You know,
I'm
So it's,
sorry.
it's definitely, I feel like learning the game of Monopoly, but in real life. Like it's all just really learning the rules and how it works.
Hmm.
But that
Yeah.
being the biggest, I think that it's really important for our community to bridge the gap and really just wealth wise, because they're not out here. No one is out here that's going to rescue us. No one's coming to put money in our pockets. We have to really figure it out on our own, because I talk
Hmm.
about it in the sense that, like, I walked into McDonald's, I think, the other day, and I had seen them, just not in my local market, but now in my market you could literally walk up, order your own food. They don't even need cash registers,
Right.
cashiers any longer. I'm like, the next step I'm gonna be in the back flipping my own hamburger.
Right.
You know, so
Like the
all this
self
automation, yeah,
checkout.
like all of this automation is starting to happen. And so
Mhm.
it like, you know, the argument is, well, get you a skill, level up, get a better job. But, you know, that's not, sadly, everybody's ability. Like
Mhm.
everyone can't just, okay, I'm gonna go out here and just do this thing. A lot of people are
Mhm.
like, well, I got bills to pay. I can't go back to school.
Mhm.
I got responsibilities. I can't just stop what I'm doing and go take a full course to get my license for XYZ. You know, everybody doesn't start out, you
Mhm.
know, at the same starting point, you know.
Right.
So I think it's
Right.
like, I always say, like, if you're going to pay rent anyways, move in with somebody, buy a spot together, like,
Mhm.
you know, build equity jointly. And then, you know, once that one person gets on, go buy your own spot, like
Mhm.
whatever, sell it, split the equity, you know, each
Mhm.
one get their own home. But I think that we have to in some way start talking about like really leaning on each other, because sadly we're afraid of one another.
Right.
Like a lot of times, like I see it, you know, I see it so often that we don't want to have that conversation because, you know, I don't want you in my business. You're gonna, you know, take my idea and run with it, you know, and
Right.
it's because we come from a place of scarcity.
Right.
You know, we've been living there for a really long time.
Mhm.
How do we come up out of that?
Mhm. Right.
You know?
Right. And speaking of scarcity, a lot of people are afraid to move forward with buying a home because they are in a place where they don't have perfect credit.
Yeah.
So, what do you suggest for those people that don't have the perfect credit score? And most of us are not in the 700 club. so, so what suggestions or ideas do you have for the people that are not so perfect, not there yet?
So, you know what? The beauty of credit is all of it can be restored, rebuilt,
Hmm.
recycled, right? We can, it's not game over. Even
Right.
if you have really bad credit, you can come back from that. So a lot of it is just looking at your last 12 months of payment history. Are you paying your bills on time for the last year?
Hmm.
Do you have very little debt on them credit cards? And sadly, you know, we are taught to be consumers. So what will happen is in our consumer mindset, I'm gonna get that TV that's $1,200 on payments, you know, and we go and buy a
Hmm.
television that's $1,200 that sits in our living room and ain't making us no money, but yet
Hmm.
we're paying interest on this product. So I always tell
Hmm.
people like, you know, you got to get out of the mindset of consumerism, which is
Hmm.
literally just buying stuff on payments. Like that is our death trap,
Hmm.
you know. And they
Hmm.
sell it to us that way. You don't have to buy. You don't have to pay $1,200 for the television. You can pay $25 a month for the next 3 years and then pay it back that way.
Hmm.
So it's really kind of shifting our mindset to stop buying stuff we don't need.
Yeah.
Keyword being need.
Right.
Like we don't need this stuff. We want it. There is a
Uh-huh.
difference.
Hmm.
So buy stuff that you need. Make sure that all of your stuff is at like little to no balance at all on your credit cards. Pay your make your payments on time for the next 12 months. Anything that's on there that's like medical collection, you can dispute all of that stuff, and it actually has no negative effect on your ability to buy a house.
Hmm.
However, if you owe, and I've seen this happen, where you went and you racked up your credit cards $2,000 to $3,000, and you just stopped paying on them because you just couldn't afford to do so. You know
Hmm.
that. Do not dispute it. Just leave it alone. Eventually, it'll fall off. You know, it'll go to charge-off status, and then it won't
Hmm.
even matter anymore, right?
Hmm.
If you got a lot of debt, I'd recommend bankruptcy. Just do it. I know a lot of times
Wow.
people are so scared of that word, like, oh my God. If you've got so much debt, you know you're not going to ever pay it back, file bankruptcy. That's what
Right.
it's for. It's a restart button.
Yeah, there's so many people, so many big people do it. Like famous people do file for bankruptcy and they
Oh,
bounce
they file
right back.
bankruptcy all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't be
So
scared
I'm
about
in
it.
agreement with bankruptcy. I think it is a tool that we do not utilize enough, you know, in the sense that we're afraid of it. You know, well, I don't know what we think is going to happen,
Hmm.
but literally they will wipe the slate clean and you can restart. So I'm an advocate of bankruptcy. If you're too far in debt, get out. Like if
Right.
you're just overwhelmed, you know, you lease too many cars, you
bought too much furniture, whatever it was that happened, during this consumer mindset that you were having at the time, just buying everything on payments, because
The
that's all
shopping
we did.
sprees.
Yes, go ahead and file the bankruptcy. It literally, after bankruptcy, 2 years after bankruptcy, you can buy a house. 2 years.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
not this, oh my God, once I do it, I can never get credit. Literally 24 months. That's
Right.
it.
And that's better than waiting 7 to 10 years for all of that stuff to fall off of your credit. And all of that time you're paying rent. That's 7 to 10 years when you could have just went ahead and filed and got
Yes.
your home in 2 years.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it, because people are like, oh my God, if I file bankruptcy, I'm never going to be able to buy a home. Well, at least we make that the excuse, because I don't know if people were going to buy a house anyways, but
Mhm.
no. Like, if you're so deep in the debt, you can't ever get up out of it,
Mhm.
file the bankruptcy, get rid of all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just get rid of it.
Yeah. Sharon says,
And big corporations do it all the time.
yeah. Sharon says, what about bankruptcy? Sharon, she's just explaining how that if you're too far in debt, if you're too deep in debt, then go ahead and file bankruptcy. You can buy that home in 2 years as long as you keep your credit right.
Yes.
You can't go right
Like,
back to the place that you were.
you reestablish your credit,
Uh-huh.
after the BK, meaning you they will give you a secured credit card. You literally walk into the bank and they'll give you another credit card. It's crazy. But they'll let you reestablish credit, and as long as you've been paying your stuff on time for the last 12 months, you can buy a house.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And it's interesting, because for people that have like student loan debt, it's the one thing you can't get rid of in the bankruptcy. That and IRS debt.
Right.
Student loans, IRS debt, you can't get up out of that. But
you're not getting rid of
everything else, wipe it off.
Right. Yeah, get that fresh start that you need to get into your home and to stop paying that rent and start building your own equity.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
So a lot of people that are following me are entrepreneurs. What tips do you have for entrepreneurs that are looking to buy a home? Because a lot of entrepreneurs feel that they can't buy because they don't have that consistent biweekly check like everyone else has. So what tips do you have to share for entrepreneurs?
So with us, okay, so think of it this way. There's three, it's like a pyramid. So there's 3 points when you're buying a house. Income, right? Your income, you got to be able to prove how much money you make. Your credit, which shows that you have the ability to repay, meaning you just show them, look, I'm good, I can make payments. And then your down payment. So if I need income, credit, and down payment, but I'm missing one of the 3, I have to have a lot of one of the others, right? So let's just say I've got not a lot of money down.
Right.
But if I got good credit and I got a good job, I can buy a house with 3% down payment. I could probably even qualify for down payment assistance, right? Because I have compensating factors. I've got good credit and I got a good job. But let's say for entrepreneur, I got good credit, I even got good money, but my income, on the other hand, is kind of like, because I'm writing everything off. I got a bunch of expenses. That's okay. Like, I'm actually doing a loan for a gentleman right now. He's putting 10% down. He makes great money, but like everybody else, he writes all of that money off. He literally got negative $180,000 in income. Okay, negative 180.
What?
So with him, yes, like he owns all of these Planet Fitnesses. I think he got like 12 of them. There's like a dozen. No, what does he own? Orange Theories.
Oh,
so
wow.
He owns 12 Orange Theories. And so these Orange Theories, he writing all of this income off, So like I said, when I look at his taxes, it literally says negative $180,000. Nobody's giving him a mortgage because it looks like he ain't making no money.
Right.
Which for him makes sense, right? Because, he doesn't want to pay taxes on that.
Right.
He gave me the last 12 months, not years, 12 months of bank statements showing all of his deposits from these businesses coming in to his bank account. This guy makes I think we ended up at like $90,000 a month in income. Girl, it's something crazy.
What?
So with that program, he just got to put 10% down, 12 months of bank statements, and he's buying a house. Just like that.
And he would have never known that if he didn't talk to you. Other lenders
No.
probably would have looked at that negative amount and just said no. So I'm glad that you are there to actually save loans. We didn't mention the name of your company. We Save Loans in the beginning. I love the name of your company because there's so many people that are moving forward. They're getting denied and they're in a place where they're feeling rejected, and they go and rent for years because they feel like they won't be approved. They feel like they're not in a perfect place to be approved. With someone, even if someone has, like, just say, for example, they're an entrepreneur and they're making $50,000 and their deductions bring them down to $24,000. They probably feel like they're in a place where I wouldn't be able to buy a home. So that's why I'm glad that you guys kind of actually help them move forward and actually save those loans.
We just did they have a new product that came out for 1099 individuals, people that get 1099. So if you work for one company that 1099s you, you can use that income like a regular W-2 employee, and they won't look at your tax returns. You just have to be on that job for 2 years. So 2 years in the same line of work, and they literally let you use the 1099s.
Wow.
With no tax returns, nothing. They don't even care. They're like, we just want to make sure that you actually are getting paid.
Right.
And that's like so big in Florida because here we have a lot of CNAs. We got a lot of home health care aides, that type of stuff. And all of those positions, when I normally see them, they 1099.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the employers they don't want to pay no taxes on that money. So they 1099 everybody. So that and that's a normal loan. You can get away with just putting your 3% down, your 3.5% down. Nothing special. You just got to have that 1099 to prove that you've been working for the last 2 years.
Oh, that's an FHA loan? Oh, wow. Okay. Nice.
Yeah, so they just came out with it. They just ruled it out. So for all the people that out there that have 1099s, that's something that's available to you. So it's not the end of the world. If you did your taxes in order to protect yourself from having to pay the IRS, it's okay. Just work on saving up all the money that you're earning, so you'll have the ability to put a little bit more money down. But there's programs out there, you know, and you're not gonna get in trouble. Like people be like, "Oh my God, are they gonna?" No, they don't care. They do not care. They don't care enough. Like it's just not important to them. They're like, can you prove to us that you can repay this money? Yes. Okay. Here's the loan.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah. As long as you're coming in and paying that mortgage, if you can pay that rent, which is the same amount, you can pay that mortgage. So
yes.
Yeah. Definitely.
Because I don't know about you, Nancy. Like over here for us, I think like a normal like rental is at least $1,500.
Yeah, we're the same. 15.
Yeah, so we at least $1,500, and that's just a regular little 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. Nothing fancy. You can buy the same thing for probably a little less, maybe. You know what I mean? Like you can actually get a house similar to or better than what you're renting for the same amount. So why not buy your own spot?
Right. Yeah. So true. A lot of people get into buying a home and they're excited because their score is there, and then they get approved, get the home, and then they go and finance a TV or furniture or a car before closing. I've had a client that actually financed a Cadillac before closing. So I always tell people, and this happened like back in, I think 2003, 2004. So ever since then, I always tell people the things that you should not do when after you're approved before closing. The day after closing, do whatever you want. So if you want to go finance the Taj Mahal, then go ahead and finance it, but don't do anything before. So what are some of the things that you want to let people know not to do before?
I think a lot of it's just control over your finances. Like we spend money so easily because now it's on the credit card, just swipe, right? So you want to control your debt, watch out for just your expenses. Like, where is your money going? Especially when you're buying a house, you got to be really intentional about watching where your money is going. So don't buy anything you don't need. So if you don't need it, don't buy it. Because what they're looking at is your income, meaning the money you're making versus your debt, the money going out. So if I got too much money going out, even if I got income coming in, they're not going to qualify me because it's too much debt. They want the debt to be lower than the income. Right. They want the income to be higher, debt to be lower, so they can feel comfortable that you're going to be able to afford that payment. So what gets us in trouble is we got the income coming in, but as quickly as it comes in, it goes right back out.
Right. Right.
And like I said, this is kind of like this thought process that we have. Like, we got a hot dollar and it's burning in your pocket. We can't hold on to the money. And it's not that we can't. We just don't have the discipline over it, because we definitely can. It's we just don't have the discipline.
Right. And some people say, okay, I'm getting a raise next month and I'm going to buy a car, or I'm going to upgrade this or upgrade that. No, take that extra money, because it might not be a lot. Even if it's an extra $30 or $10 per check, take that and save it and put it towards something else, or paying off debt instead of finance.
I definitely agree. Like, even with our tax refund, right? So this whole time, these last 12 months, you've been rocking with your income. Your same weekly check or bi-weekly check, you've been getting that, no problem. You're making it. All of a sudden, we get this influx of $3,000, $6,000, whatever the dollar amount is, and in less than 2 months, the money's gone.
Yeah.
You didn't have that money before anyways. What are you spending it on?
Yeah.
And like I said, I get it. A lot of times we feel like we just want to treat ourselves and do something nice. But $3,000 worth of nice stuff, that's a lot of money. Like, what are you doing? I'm not definitely not shaming anybody, but what are we doing with all this extra cash that we're getting? And like I said, like, it doesn't even survive for 2 months. Like, it doesn't even last that long.
Right. Treat yourself to dinner or maybe the movies or something, but not something that huge. I would understand that. So yeah.
We need to learn how to use these influxes of assets to actually like benefit us. Like, you take that $3,000, $4,000, $6,000 that you're getting back, because it is your money. It's not like it's free money. It's actually your money that they're just refunding to you. That's why it's called tax refund. Why not take this refund and actually buy something with it that will continue to make us money? You don't have to move into it. Go buy it, rent it out, become a landlord.
So many people are, of course, buying rentals, doing Airbnbs. There's so many different options out there.
Like, you can make money. Like I said, the how, that's the easy part, because there's so much information available to us. But why should we be doing this? Because at some point in time, you're going to get ready and you don't want to keep working. No one's giving you a pension. And if you do get Social Security, $1,000 a month, I mean, what does that cover?
Yeah.
Your lights, maybe some water, but you ain't doing anything else with it.
Right.
Because, just right now, $1,000 just doesn't go far. Even if I had no expenses, right? I'm one of them blessed people. I got a house that's free and clear. My car's paid off. How far will $1,000 get me? My electric bill right now is almost $200, and I'm 2 people in my house, right? It's not like I have, 4 or 5 people. I got 2 people in my home right now, myself and my son. So let's say he moves out, that drops me to $100, right? So I got $100 for my electricity, probably $50 for my water. So I'm $150 there. I gotta buy groceries, $100 a week. That's $400 just on groceries a month.
Right.
$500 for my light. Another $50 for the water. So $550. So out of $1,000, I got $550 just surviving, right? So it's like, it's just the money isn't enough. You have to find a way to create another stream of revenue.
Yeah.
Like we have, and that's the conversation that we're not having, because it's like, what are you going to do when you get to retirement age? You're not going to retire. That's why people are still working.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, people retire and go right into a part-time job, take their retirement income and go right into a part-time job because they didn't save the way that they should have before retirement. So I know a lot of people that have done that. So yeah.
Yes, I know grandfathers, grandmothers that are still out here doing CNA work because they cannot not work. They can't quit working. And that's even with the house and everything being paid off. Because one of my best friends, his father owns his house free and clear. He ain't got no car payments, nothing, but he still has a part-time job and the Social Security benefit to make it.
Wow.
And that's not him, like he ain't buying Gucci bags, like he's just living, you know? So it's like, okay, what are we going to do when we get to that point? Because I'm 40 now. Like I'm not trying to work the rest of my life.
Me either.
Yeah.
Me either.
So I mean, and so 60 is 20 years around the corner. Like that'll be here and gone by before I know it. So how am I going to get to that point where I can actually be like, you know what? Let me walk away from this.
Right. My dad retired about 1.5 years ago, and he said, I'm not doing anything else. I've worked my whole life. He said, I'm not getting a part-time job. Whatever I have coming in is whatever I have coming in. So he just
good for your dad. You know, like that's awesome that he can do that and say that. But you know, sadly, I think most Americans, that's why a lot of us actually leaving. Like I see it a lot. If you actually travel outside the country, there's a lot of expats, as they call them, where they actually leave, take their Social Security benefit and go somewhere else and actually retire because that money lasts them a little more.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't even realize that. Yeah. So
Google it, girl. They everywhere.
Yeah. So the process, a lot of people are like the actual process of getting started. What happens when someone just say they call you for that consultation? They say, okay, I'm there. I feel like I want to get started with the process. Kind of walk them through how that starts and what you'll need from them as far as a lender.
Super easy stuff. First of all, I need your driver's license to make sure that's you and not somebody pretending to be you.
Right.
Because that happens. Then we look at the income documents, you know, as far as like, did you file your own taxes because you're self-employed or do you work for somebody? So we always look at the income because, like I said, the most important portion being the income. How much money are you bringing in versus what's going out? So once we look at the income, we'll pull the credit just to see where the debt's at. But that's it. Nothing else. It's like people think it's crazy, but once I have that, I can tell you, look, based on the income you're making, you can't afford to buy this house, but you can afford this house. Or can we add somebody to the loan with you? Or do you have the ability to show me your last 12 months of bank statements showing that you've been making big deposits? You just wrote everything off. So once we have the income documents, it lets me problem solve for the client. And we just have this belief that we don't say no. I never say no, you can't buy a house. What I say is, you can't buy a house based on XYZ, but if you do this, you can buy a home.
Yeah. I'm glad you give them that next step because a lot of lenders, they just say you're denied and they really don't give them that next step to take. So a lot of people leave like feeling rejected because they can't do it. So I'm glad that you give them that next step.
Yeah. And I think, well, you know, we really think that it's a matter of being educated. I don't know what I don't know. And if nobody ever teaches me, then I'm just never going to be able to have that knowledge, you know. So we just kind of come from really a standpoint of educating, because whether you do it with me or somebody else, you know, I want you to be educated. I want you to know. So, you know, nobody's going to sit out here and scam people because, you know, there's literally, they do it. Like they've been fined. You know, these big banks like Wells Fargo, yes, I said your name, because it's on the internet. Google it. They have been fined for overcharging people of color. We get charged higher rates. We get charged higher fees. You know, so just coming from that place, like we understand that this is something that's an issue in our community, and the only way to prevent or help with that is literally education. We got to teach each other.
Yeah. And a lot of people are so scared. They say, okay, when I go to a lender, they're going to ask for this, they're going to ask for that, they're going to. Well, a lot of people are in a place where they say, okay, I'm probably going to feel horrible when I get off of this call, so I'm not going to call, or I'll put it off until next week. So I'm glad that you're able to just say, okay, it's 1, 2, 3. That's it. It's nothing major.
Your driver's license, your source of income. That's all I need. Then I'm gonna pull your credit, you know, because I got to take a look at that. But you don't have to give that to me. I'm taking that, you know, out of the credit reporting bureau system. So really, it's your driver's license and your source of income. How do you make money? You know, are you retired? Did you luck up and marry somebody? Is it paying your alimony? You know, like everybody's situation is a little different. So we just kind of go off of show me the money, just like the movie. Show me the money. Let me see how you get paid, and then I can give you direction with that.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. That is definitely the first step that I think everybody should take. They should call the lender. If you don't have a lender, of course, call a realtor. That realtor can give you a list of preferred lenders. Isabel is my number one on my list. So I would definitely recommend reaching out to her. Once you're pre-approved and done with that, then we can start the home search. I do not recommend, well, of course, you can look on Zillow and other places to buy a home, but I recommend speaking to an actual realtor so that you can give them your list of wants, so that you can give them your list of needs. Because if you're just searching on Zillow, you're just pulling up everything, and you're going to be sitting there scrolling, pulling your hair out. So I would definitely make sure before you start the process, you're building your team, which is your realtor and your lender. So,
Plus, you know what, maybe you guys know the market. Like I have clients that ask me all the time, hey, do you think this is a good offer? And I'm like, I don't know. You know, I don't know what's going on in that local market. It might be really competitive. I don't know if that's a good house or a good neighborhood, because guess what? I don't actually even see the home. I just look at their budget. So I always refer them back to the real estate agent, because it's like, y'all are like boots on the ground. You get to see houses every day. If a client says, oh, I found a house that's on XYZ street, what do you think? I'm like, I don't know, because I didn't know where that's at, you know, but you do. Right. You know, and I always try to, like, you know, it's kind of hard, I think, for people to understand that there is a difference between the two. There's definitely a difference there.
Because as realtors, we're out there looking at properties, like you said, looking at those properties every day. We're in the MLS every day. So we're seeing what's coming up active. We're seeing what's selling. We're seeing those different trends every single day. So we know whether if you're making an offer on a home that's $20,000 above where it should be, the comps, then we know that that you may not be a great deal, and you may not get appraised for it either. So
yeah, for sure. I think that's like the biggest thing is that people don't you know, you got to get somebody that knows the local market on your side so they can really guide you through the process of, is this good? Am I buying something for the right price? You know, even with me, like when I go car shopping, I don't go by myself. I take my brother with me because he knows vehicles. I don't know cars. I just know how to put the key in, turn on the ignition, put gas in the car, and drive. That's it. But I don't know anything about cars. You know, I don't know what's a good model. How many miles is too many miles? What to look for. Like if I open up the engine, you know, that looks crazy to me. I don't know what I'm looking at. I can pretend like I know what I'm looking at, but I don't know what I'm looking at. Right. So I always take him with me when I go car shopping because I need his professional opinion. You know, because he's a mechanic.
Oh well, yeah, that's the perfect opinion then.
Yeah, like, oh, why wouldn't I? You know. So I think it's the same with real estate. Why not work with a realtor? It don't, especially when you're the buyer, it don't cost you anything. It is free representation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people feel like, okay, I'm going to have to pay this realtor. No, the seller is actually paying the realtor. We're here to give you advice for free. We're here to walk you through the homes for free because we're getting paid from the other side, not from you. So,
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even like, you know, that being the same perspective for us as lenders, my clients don't pay me. My customer doesn't pay me. The bank does. Because they sell notes. If you ever hear them talking about, that's what they do. They sell the paper. And that's how we get paid. When the paper gets sold, we get paid. So the client themselves don't have to pay us at all. Like there's no fees or anything involved.
All right. Well, thank you, Isabel, for telling us, helping, especially entrepreneurs. I think one thing, I have a lot of entrepreneurs jumping in my inbox asking questions. So that's why I wanted to create this training or to host this, because I wanted to be able to have something to send to entrepreneurs and for those that have not so perfect credit, so that they'll know that it's easier than you think. It's not the end all be all. One rejection that you got 2 years ago is not gonna break the bank. So you got to keep moving. So thank you, Isabel.
You're so welcome. Remember, everybody, like, reestablish, recycle, reuse your credit. It's not that serious. It's not the end of the world. If you got too much debt and you can't repay it, file bankruptcy. Yes, I said it. You want to get into that. And as far as like being a business owner, congratulations. Like I love entrepreneurs. I think that it takes so much gut, sacrifice. Like we fight against the grain because everybody else looking at us like we're crazy. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
But there are options if you decide that your business is doing well and you want to finally buy a home. It's game on.
Yeah.
There's game on. You know, you can buy a house and you don't have to file $100,000 in income to do so. You know, so because there are options out there for it. So never be deterred. Somebody has the information that you need. You just got to reach out to them and ask.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Isabel. I hope you have an amazing weekend. Thank you for joining me today.
All right, sweetheart. See you guys.
Bye bye. Have a good one.
Hey.